What did you all think about Starmer's visit to the Oval Office that he did just before Zelensky?
Obsequious was the word that came to mind.
I mean, I think he played it as well as he could have politically.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like to give him praise for anything, he played Trump like a fiddle. The whole thing presenting him with a letter from the king that Trump obviously couldn't read.
It's like training a dog. It's like,
Good boy.
does you want a wee biscuit? Roll over and I'll pass the
But you don't want to present to the king.
So, like, that is how you have to talk to him. The reporters are showing that, where they're like, at President Trump, why do you have the largest knob of any president? And he's like, that is a great question. I love that question. He's like, trying to polish it. But like, that is how you have to talk to him. You have to be like, right, so we've got the birthday boy here. Are you a very special birthday boy? And he's like, yes, I'm a very special birthday boy. Anyway, like Joe Biden, he never had any birthdays. He was terrible. He was the worst birthday boy. But it's like, that is how you have to talk to him. You have to talk to him like he is a toddler with brain damage. It's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. But it was weird seeing our Prime Minister going and participating in that. And he was doing it. He was like, there you go, there's your letter from the king. This is very, very special. This has never happened before. Very, very special.
We'll put it on the fridge so everyone can see it.
Red as little toes.
Did you clock Starmer's face as he was doing this? Because he was trying so hard. It struck me like he was a ball hair away from fucking breaking down into laughter.
Yeah.
He was, and I had a little bit more respect for him because it was awful and it was. Bleh.
When he asked him, do you think you could beat Russia on your own? And Starmer was just like, as if like, I can't believe this idiot is saying stupid things like that.
I know. I mean, we don't like Starmer, but he's not stupid. He's very rigid, I feel. But I think he did very well.
I think that, the caveat has to be that, like, if Trump hadn't botched the Zelensky thing so badly, Starmer would have been in there probably doing very different things. I think it's, as I say, that he's just rolling with the punches. I mean, he's flip-flopped pretty badly on the Trump stuff. He's been trying to get ahead before I think he was even elected about like he was going to be in the White House, and I'll just kind of try and play both sides. I mean, I will give him credit that when it's come down to the crunch, that America basically has a line with Russia that he did go with, okay, let's go with Europe.
He also played the smarter political game because obviously Zelensky understandably can't help was on the campaign trail with Biden and Kamala because he was like, I know if Trump gets in, he's going to fucking back out and kowtow to Russia. I know that he's a Kremlin asset. So he was like, please don't vote for him, vote for them. And then that was brought up during the Oval Office meeting. It was like,
he wasn't campaigning for them, though.
No, he was, but he met them on the campaign trail. But it was like, J.D. Vance brought that up. It's like, and then he's like, have you even said thank you once? It's like, what is he supposed to be thanking you for?
You've done fuck all.
I refer to the aid that Biden gave as the things that stupid president did. That's what Trump said. And it's just like, what is he supposed to be thanking you for?
I kind of understand, like, Starmer, like, doing all that stuff, doing the full act, kneeling down and going, no, I'm not worthy kind of stuff, kissing his feet like Musk does. I understand where he's coming from and I don't really blame him. Considering the stakes that are at play. But at the same time, I think there is a naivety of kowtowing to Trump because everyone else who's ever done that in the past has been stabbed in the back. You don't actually get anything from it.
It's inevitable. This is the problem. And everybody keeps nonetheless fucking doing it. It's like, he is so mercurial. He will, while you're there in the room with him, fucking puff him up, he's happy. Now, the second there's somebody else there, it's something different. He is only interested in himself, and it's absolutely that his treachery is the only thing that is reliable.
And time's come now to draw a line under and say America's over party is happening.
Yeah.
We're finished. The special relationship has now ended with America. Europe is now our best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I was incredibly irritated that I was listening to Radio 4 the other morning and Angela Rayner was on, and she just, I quite like Angela Rayner. She's reasonably plain speaking most of the time, but now that she's in government, she's somehow managed to fucking have a fucking brain severed. And she just would not, she was still talking as if what had happened over the weekend Zelensky hadn't happened. And she just kept talking about, what we're going to do is, and saying, yeah, but what do you think about that? Well, what we're going to, the interviewer was going, yeah, but with all due respect, I'm asking what you think about it. What do you think about it? And she just
they'd be told.
Say, yeah, oh yeah, I know, they've been fucking told to shut up. But this is the problem. And this is where Starmer's still trying to, that fucking special relationship thing. That special relationship has never existed.
No.
It's always been bollocks. Yeah. The special relationship is basically that we're a dog that they think that they can pet, right? That's the special relationship. And you can see right all the way back to Yes, Prime Minister. There's a whole episode about him getting all excited about his American visit and then yanking it, like he's only going to meet the vice president unless they do something or other. And it's always been there. And it's just this. It's the Gareth and David Brent. It's the we want to be standing next to the guy that's in charge, whoever he is, so that we look like we're protected by him. It's fucking pathetic.
Yeah, I agree. America is over party. It's also, I feel so justified in it because it is a case of having given them chance after chance after chance. I mean, this is, the special relationships never existed, but I think the terminology of that, I remember just being hammered into us during the Blair and Bush years of that all the time, and everyone knew that was a load of shit. And I feel like we've been dealing with this like badly behaved version of America since 9/11. I mean, it wasn't great beforehand, but I feel that like that's when it really went mental. And it's been like, okay, are you going to get your shit together? Are you going to sort yourself out? Are you going? Oh, you're not. Okay, and it's just getting worse. Right? Okay, this is it.
And the coalition of the willing, Bush called it, and that's what Starmer's been using as a sort of reference to that.
But see, again, that's him making the mistake of thinking that the Americans in charge now think about things the way they do. So it's a lack of flexibility with regards to who it is you're dealing with, because that assumes that they know any fucking history. They don't even know recent history. I mean, Trump was over in fucking Europe for one of the fucking anniversaries of the end of the fucking Second World War, and he didn't know what side America had fought on. He doesn't understand why the Japanese Constitution is what it is, and why like there's an American protectorate of Japan and stuff like that. He doesn't fucking know anything.
Yeah. He likes the reason why I think he likes being president, and it's the only reason why I think he is because he can sort of use that, well, you have to respect the office, and it gives him like a kind of temporary shield. So you're talking about like having to, train him like a dog or talk to like a birthday toddler. It's like by being the president that it forces that engagement. If he's just a random guy, then you go, oh, you're just a dick. But because of that,
all of these cunts started out rich, and they would all have been in jail if they hadn't been born rich.
Yeah.
With the way that they behave. There's a great line in I think it's East of Eden by John Steinbeck. One of the characters says, God gives money to some curious people, presumably because they'd starve to death without it.
Yeah. But I mean, he's a little fucking Joffrey. Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen Game of Thrones in ages, but I watched it. It came up on my YouTube shorts, and I went, oh yeah, he's a little fucking Joffrey. Yeah. Just a cruel, stupid little fucking bully who has been given all the power in the world, and will use it in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, I just want to fucking throttle that guy, but I can't. Cause the king.
Someone said him and Vance like Joffrey and Reek.
Oh my god, it's Reek.
He is the most shallow, rancid, malevolent, malignant person that I can think of. Yeah. He is awful.
And I think what that means is that now you don't have to respect the office. This is the whole kind of like America's over party. It's like your political system, if that's it, if you've decided democracy isn't really for us, we're going to go with the fash.
We no longer have to.
We don't need to respect that office. It's like you've desecrated the office. It no longer exists. So what you have to do is reboot. You've got to redo that from the ground up now. And that's when you get to come back out to play. But until then, you're on the naughty step. Fuck off.
Yeah,
and I think that's where we're at with it.
I never thought I'd be on the side of measles before, but...
Let's go.
This administration has quite proudly come out on the pro-cancer side of things. They have also abolished cancer research, because I think that's woke, probably too. maybe some trans people also get cancer, so they cancer research is too woke. We can't have that. So yeah, I
these are people for whom their money has been a shield against reality for so long that they don't even think they'll catch cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's magical thinking again. It's religion, conspiracy, money.
Like the amount of beef that he eats, the amount of McDonald's that he eats. If colon cancer isn't the thing that takes him out, then I'd be very upset.
I've said this before, but I just, the thing that I hope for him is a really ignominious Elvis-themed toilet death.
Yeah,
I want him having some sort of major coronary or stroke episode whilst rage tweeting on the toilet, unable to pass whatever bolus of undigested red meat.
I just had the Monty Python, like the carving in the wall. And it's like, why is this? It's like, he must have died while carving it. It's like, no, he didn't. It was like, what that tweet? Just,
I hope it happens on Air Force One when it's full of journalists, so they can smell them first before they find out.
I hope there's two adjoining toilets, and like while he's doing that, Elon's having his ketamine-fueled toilet heart attack at the same time. That would be.
Speaking of Air Force One, did you hear that he banned Associated Press from being in like Air Force One and the Oval Office and stuff like that, purely because they refused to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America? Oh man, that's unbelievable, isn't it? So they've brought a court case against it because, you know, America at least it still sort of has freedom of speech in its constitution, allegedly.
Allegedly. I mean, I think the prevalence of religion over there, and it is something quite strange because because we live in a country where the clergy is still in our fucking parliament, and yet, like, very few people really sign up hardcore to a religion in this country. And over there, it's like they fucking bang on endlessly about the fucking separation of church and state. And you fucking try admitting you're an atheist unless you're some sort of fucking biochemical researcher. Do you know what I mean?
Here in America, it's sort of like if somebody was around their kids talking about the Easter bunny, like, oh, you're saying that a wee game for the kid, but slowly realizing they think the Easter bunny is real. That's kind of what they're like. They're in that realm of just like, this isn't.
Do you think that's why there's so many films they make where Santa's real?
I think they do. They're fascinated by the idea of the supernatural. I think also that's true. They're also quite fear of dead people.
Really is very violent night. I've watched it twice and I'm not ashamed of that at all.
I also think if the reality of your country is that you're the world's only superpower, although they're doing their best to rectify that, and the leading cause of death in children is firearms, but you refuse to do anything about firearms, then probably escaping into a little fantasy world in your head is a necessity for survival. But when this
firearms,
even that descriptor of that country tells you how different they are from us and how difficult it is for us to do the sort of one for one. But why would they do that? It's like, why are you trying to apply logic to this tangled mess of corporatism and greed and just absolute malicious levels of self-interest to a point that we have horrific corruption and greed in this country, but it's on a different level. Like everything in America is supersized.
I think
ridiculous.
This is where the sort of supernatural stuff comes into. Because I think what they do is that we've outlined very clearly on this podcast that like there's really obvious like one foot in front of the other things that lead to good things happening and really awful stuff happening. Like, okay, like not doing anything about a genocide is pretty bad. But I think what they like to do is sort of create this narrative about there's like good guy in the sky and there's Satan. And it's all this kind of supernatural stuff because it can't be the guns. It can't be capitalism causing any of this. It can't be America doing it. It has to be a sort of external force. And that thought process begins the road to like, it's the trans, it's the this, it's the that. And rather than looking at just very objectively, well, clearly it's these things that are the problem.
It's that Onion headline, isn't it?
Yeah.
No way to prevent this. There's only country where this regularly happens.
Yes. And it's like we have to, so the story they tell themselves is that bad, evil things happen in the world because there's a magical devil character on there, but I'm the good guy. But they're actually all...
It never seems to occur to them, though, to ask themselves why that then or the hurricanes all seem to almost exclusively hit the religious southern red states.
But
It's maybe your God's trying to tell you something.
But it's like
Not about
I don't
that.
think I don't think it matters if they're Democrat or Republican. I think they both have a little bit of that. 'Cause I don't think that's the thing with the religion thing. It is applicable, like in a way that, again, here when you would say left, and I hate these. I think these terms are so redundant now. But if you were say left, your default assumption would be non-religious, probably, which is not the case in the States. And that's again, it's to come back to that kind of, there is a magical thinking driving all this. There is a consistency on the left and the right about capitalism is good, greed is good. We're not getting rid of the guns. We can avoid dealing with the genocide. That's all very consistent on either side. So they just kind of create magical things to talk
All these
about
things
evil,
exist
right and wrong.
and will continue to exist to prop up corporatism.
Exactly.
That is what it is. America is the most bought and sold country in the fucking world. It's all to make extremely rich people much, much richer. And we have the same problem here, and it's getting worse because there's more consolidation at the top. And we eat up the propaganda. We do the same thing the Americans do, where we go, we're good at identifying a problem, and just taking that extra step to get to the root of the problem and then a solution, we're not good at that.
No.
We identify the problem, the solution must be, oh no, it's these brown people over here. Mm-hmm. Oh, we've identified a problem. Well, these poor cunts are coming over in dinghies.
Yeah.
It's you. It's like, no, that guy's not your landlord. That guy's not your, like, no, it's not, it's not, you're wrong. That's not the solution. It is not the cause. So it's like this, it's it is magical thinking with them to an extent, but it's also just like the world over, we are just fucking bought into this.
What I'm saying is that the magical thing is it's the distraction bit, because atheism became like in the early 2000s, like really vocal atheists, that became really cool for a little bit. And it's like, you're still kind of buying into it, though. You're buying into this idea, well, if everyone was just atheist, everything would just work. It's like, you're not really dealing with, as you say, the one foot in the other front of the problem.
It's just
one foot
another
in front of the other.
doing the cunt stuff that
This is what I mean. It's like, we talked about this with the aliens thing on the podcast there, about the idea of these people that talk about, well, one day when we reveal that the aliens are real, then the world will be great. It's like, we could do this now if we address the one foot in front of the others. And I think that's what America is really bad at doing. Its identity is so wrapped up in capitalism, greed, guns, and it won't shed that. So it creates these baloney narratives around that core as like a shield oil.
Looking for short-term solutions to long-term problems. So, and we go worrying about obesity. Well, I'll tell you what then, feed everybody in school and feed them really, really healthily and teach them about vegetables and teach them about cooking and teach them how to, well, that costs money. Right. And there we have it.
Because inject them with these diabetes drugs that actual diabetics won't be able to get then.
Yeah.
Because I think that's quite a fair thing to say, that with Europe, post-World War II, there does seem to have been a general decline in religious sort of thinking. That's a separator culturally. That is, I think, the fundamental difference between America and here. Russia's not overtly religious, but it's kind of got a bit mad.
They've got sort of gone back to being. And one of the...
It's very intertwined with nationalism for you.
Can you inform me about this? Because I thought that was good.
The Russian Orthodox Church has been some kind of key, bishops I suppose would be the name, have been instrumental in putting forward the nationalist propaganda, and Putin really, really fucking uses that. And that's one of the reasons that they use for the sort of homophobia and things like that.
So it really is. It's a complete
that's why so many of the MAGA folk support Putin. Wow, they see how it's been on the same side.
The Ukrainian church, which is very, very sort of similar historically. Like I think the Ukrainian Orthodox Church is actually the religious sort of agent that brought forth the Russian Orthodox Church. So they are older, and there's been a huge split between those two communities because the Ukrainian Orthodox Church
so basically we're
much more progressive.
It's like a middle of a religion sandwich, like two religious sides going absolutely bananas, and we're kind of caught in the crossfire here. All right.
So the statistic that I heard was 60% of the American voter base identify as extremely religious, which is way more than here.
Yeah.
It's like if you're not vocally religious as a politician, it's a fucking death knell. Like, there's no chance you're ever getting elected. But even people who don't identify as religious, even Americans who identify as atheists, there's a really good quote by somebody who I can't remember who said it, but it was that American Christian atheists only don't believe in the God Jehovah. It doesn't mean that there's not some part of them that still believes in a something out there. Even though it's like, oh yeah, I'm an atheist because I don't believe in God. That specific God, specifically the Christian God, I don't believe in that. It's not a rejection of magical thinking and an embrace of, like
you hear it, and you hear it from people that you'd sort of expect better of as well, and they'll suddenly drop in something about such and such a person being a Pisces, and you just think, oh fuck, and you just, it's so ingrained into everything.
I guess what I'm talking about
this corporatism thing, the crossover there. So I work for an American evil company, but they have they started doing this thing where it's go and do these corporate personality tests. And I was like, my friend was like, I think you'll probably be a D. And I was like, what were you? She was like, I was a C. And I was like, don't ever say that about yourself. You're a lovely person. But it's like these 4 categories, and you can be a combination.
It's like a Myers-Briggs thing.
And I was like, right, horoscopes for men. And the guy was like, no. I was like, well, yeah. And he was like, no. And he was like trying to explain why it wasn't. And I was like, I turned it to my pal, Colin. I meant, it's horoscopes for men. And he was saying, hi, it's horoscopes for men.
The thing is, it's not that it's not useful to look at sort of key personality indicators. Your extrovert, introvert. It's like some people need a lot of external regulation, and some people don't. Like, some people are perfectly capable, if they decide to quit smoking or something like however hard it might be, they'll do it. And other people need to be reporting into somebody. They need an external person fucking looking at them. Otherwise, they won't be able to stick to something. Things like that. It's not that these things aren't useful. It's just that we're all more than that.
Yeah, also, I'm both of those things. Because I can say, and Chris has witnessed this, I can say, right, I'm going to do this incredibly difficult thing that's almost impossible to do. I'm going to do this. And then I do it. And then I'll also say, I'm gonna try to do such and such, and I can. And then Chris is like, okay, you've said you want to do this thing. You clearly can't force yourself to do it, so I will force you to do it. And I'm like, thank you. So I'm both of those things, dependent on the day,
depending on the thing.
This is the J.K. Rowling thing, talk about magical thinking. That was the observation with her about this need to sort of compartmentalise everybody and label everybody, and they're not understanding what is the human element, the human essence of that, about things fucking change, we move, but we have to deal with the immediate of what's in front, the reality of what's in front of us. Whereas there's that kind of escapism that we can, that's kind of what fascism sort of is. It's sort of like boxing everybody in. You're a this, you're one of them, you're that, and there's not a kind of celebration of the kind of diversity.
And I'm just going to say that
the individual experience as well as
to a certain extent, the sort of minorities do that to themselves as well. It's as if they've taken on board that thing, and and so you get these endless fucking subdivisions of So LGBT becomes LGBTQ becomes whatever. It's like, stop it.
It's
Have words for all of you, and just be yourselves.
But it stems from the sort of magical thinking top down, because that's a defense reaction.
I agree.
I think when it comes back to the threshold breakthrough, I think that's kind of what we're either going to have a big rammy, because we can't just keep breaking down at these endless subsets and we're all going to be at each other and fight and have a nuclear war, or I think that is going to be the breakthrough in the threshold to if we do a major, don't call it an empire is the wrong word, but a major institution, so whatever America fucking 2.0 is, whatever it's built on can't be this magical thinking crap.
Yeah.
And I feel that's maybe where we've just kind of slow stepped away from that.
The Americans need a French Revolution, is what you're saying.
Get the guillotines.
Yes.
There's no way around it.
I do think.
What's that? Oh, it's your phone.
And I do think sort of breaking down into smaller and smaller subgroups can be a bad thing, and it can sort of prevent political blocks from forming when maybe they should.
And also
not like
it makes
voting
it
in their
more difficult.
interests.
It makes it more difficult for people to change their minds or change what they're. So people get sort of stuck in a silo of I am this.
But I don't think it's just minorities. I think there is a thing with us as stupid hairless monkeys that we fucking love. We love to find out what box we're in. See that personality test?
Yeah.
I think because I'm autistic, but even that's me. That's like, oh, that's a one of me. But like, I think because I'd maybe.
Yeah,
socially
yeah, no, I know
strange.
exactly what this is. It's I want the immediate satisfaction of having solved the problem. But when you do it with your own humanity, it's not there is no quick fire way to do that.
So I was like, everybody that I work with is much smarter than I am. They're actual proper geniuses. The way that people think Elon Musk is, they are actually proper geniuses. And they were all getting well into it. This like idea of like, these little personality tests. And one of them said to me, I was like, it's none of my business what my personality type is. It's all your problem. It doesn't affect me. I don't care what my personality type is. I was like, there's no point. I'm not going to change. This is what you get. No, I don't care. I don't care to know. But they were all really, really keen to know. And I've had that sometimes. It was like the Sex and the City quiz. It's like, oh, am I a Samantha? Knowing full well am I Charlotte? But just like people love to know. They're like, what box am I in?
A lot of these kind of personality things are so you can find out things about other people and know how to manipulate them. Mm-hmm. You can know which buttons to push and the folk that you work with. That's a big part of all that stuff.
So the fact I didn't fill it out, what does that tell them about me? Am I going to get
oppositional defiance?
I 100% have oppositional defiance.
One of the reasons why like I never got like tattoos was because like when I was younger and all that, 'cause a few people that I knew did, and it was like, well, I don't like. There's a permanency to that, and I feel that like part of existing is we're talking about like, progressive versus conservative. It's like I'm never going to have a final form. Like I can't be boxed because I could wake up, I could have a dream tonight that profoundly changes who I am. And I'm accepting of that is the course of what this is. I think that the temptation is to deny that and take the laziness, I think, the easy, lazy road of going, if I just brand myself this, I can just stop growing and improving. That's the temptation.
Years and years ago, I had a boyfriend who was really fucking into astrology. I'm sorry, it was a long time ago, a long time ago. But he would use his star sign as an excuse for every fucking thing that was wrong with him. And it was, fuck you.
Religious people do that as well. It's like that kind of, it's the way out of like, if you are go, yeah, but I'm a this. But if a problem is encountered that means like, yeah, but you have to move away from that for the greater good of everybody, you won't do it. And this is sort of what you mean about these groups breaking down in smaller groups.
Yeah, you know,
it's like you can't be so inflexible.
I think gender and sexuality and politics and all sorts of things are incredibly fluid. And I actually think that fluidity is something that frightens a lot of people, and they want to stop that fluidity, and categorizing everybody is one way to stop that fluidity, because once it's a way of making you commit to or something. So yeah, one of the big fucking hoo-has about trans people is, well, what if they change their mind? What if they fucking do? Then detransition. And what does it matter?
Yeah.
You are who you are at that time. And it doesn't matter if you were somebody different. We're all hopefully progressing as time goes by. And that's fine.
Yeah, you want to become more than what you are. That should be continuously improving theoretically. But you also, in order to do that, have to experience things.
Yes.
And that to sort of discourage that and put everybody in boxes and say where you cut. Red Dwarf, you mentioned before, like one of the things I think that makes that work, the theme of it is Lister is working class, but actually he's quite clever. And actually, he's quite capable. And it's him getting over the trappings of where he came from and accepting that he can be more than that. And Rimmer is the kind of upper class variant of that, of like, the reason why I can't do anything is because of where I came from.
And
that's actually the theme of the show, I think, is meant to be that these two people from very different backgrounds kind of getting over that. And
Yeah.
but now we're millions of years in the deep space and I'm the last human alive. We actually have to adapt and work with that. And obviously there's the comedy on top of it, but that there is actually a theme there, I think, underneath that I think really is relatable. And like whatever that is kind of, that's the big picture.
Yeah.
You can't just say, well, because I'm born here and I was this and I was that limits you. And that's what we're saying to America, basically. Just because you were born a gun nut religious freak in Texas, like, but you could be more. Like, you could try and aspire to that, but all these systems, they don't want you doing that bit.
I've
Just like it.
what we see now, actually, in like America and Russia, and even like right-wing parts of our own country, this kind of embrace of religion in this weird kind of new kind of nationalistic way is part of a reaction against the like terminal decline of religious belief.
Yeah.
Actually, America's at a low point in terms of religious belief. It's going down.
So the voter turnout is going down, religious going down. Yeah.
I think this is a reaction against it. They're trying to say our way of life, our whole like, hyper masculine America is the big greatest, all this kind of stuff. It's a reaction against what they see as a diminishing of that.
It's the same as the end of the Roman Empire, isn't it? And which is what they base themselves on to a certain extent, and they're going to decline for the same reason, which is that their water's full of lead and they're all mental.